Right now, on a Monday from New York, I am Greeny, delighted you've chosen to get up with us and look at the superstar squad we have put together to talk football with you as the morning goes today. Dominique is ready. Jeff Darlington is here. Teddy Bruschi making plays today, and Ryan Clark will join the party as well. But we begin with the magical words. Game 7 in the NBA, Mavericks Clippers for the right to advance. Here we go, and it was Luka Doncic. What a series Luka had. Late in the first, you can't stop him. This is Nicholas Batum working on him defensively. That's a 3. Next possession, it's Rajon Rondo. That's another 3 for Doncic. Second quarter, Mavericks down by 5, being guarded by Terrence Mann. There's no good matchup. Doncic had 29 in the first half, but the Mavericks were down by 8 to the third quarter. We're tied at 81. Kawhi Leonard in the corner. He would not allow his team to go out in Game 6, and he had 28 in Game 7. Next possession, Clippers swinging it around, and the ball will tend to find the open man, and that man, more often than not, was Marcus Morris. He had 7 threes in the ball game. Here comes another off a feed from Kawhi. On the offensive side, looking for Morris. The Clippers finished the third on a 24-4 run, and they were feeling it in Los Angeles. Oh, the home team finally going to win. Steve Ballmer doing a little dance. Luka Doncic not feeling good. 2 minutes to go. Mavs down 10. Doncic not giving up. He averaged 35 and 10 for the series, 46 points in Game 7, but it wasn't enough. The Clippers had too much. Reggie Jackson knocks it down. Kawhi, the 28, plus the 10 boards, the 9 assists. Clippers make 23s, and they advance 126-111. They will take on Utah in round 2, and right now, our friends at Caesars Sportsbook see the Jazz as slight favorites. Currently minus 145, the Clippers are plus 125. However, our analytics love Utah, giving the Jazz a 70% chance to make the Western Conference Finals. That was one game yesterday. How about the other? From Game 7 to Game 1. Joel Embiid back in the lineup with the torn meniscus. Sixers hosting the Hawks, and that means Trae Young. Oh, what a night Trae Young had. It was actually the afternoon, but you get the point. Late first quarter, knocking that one down for 3. Second quarter, the Hawks are up by 20. And if he finds any space, he makes you pay. The step back 3, and he was feeling it. 40 seconds to go in the half. Hawks are up by 18. Young, using another high screen, finds the space, knocks it down over Tobias Harris. He had 35 points, 10 assists. Doc Rivers says, I can't believe what I'm seeing. But the Sixers would not go quietly. $1:15 to go. It's a 7-point game. Joel Embiid gets the feed. Look at the physicality from the big man. Get out of his way. Puts it up and good, only down by 5. Next possession, Embiid, again, working hard inside. 39 points for Embiid. Wanted the call there, doesn't get it, so it's a 3-point game. Under 15 seconds to go. Hawks up by 4, they need a steal. They get a steal. Ben Simmons, uncontested. It's a 2-point game. 10.5 seconds to go. They need another turnover. Can they find it? The answer is no. Hawks get it in. Green is forced to foul. Atlanta makes both free throws, and that's all she wrote. Atlanta steals Game 1, 128-124, despite 39, a postseason career high from Joel Embiid. So that's where we stand after one game in that series, and here is where we begin our conversation with Tim Legler this morning. So they get Embiid back. He plays huge, and they still lose at home. Is the 1 seed in the East in trouble in this series?
They're definitely in trouble. That doesn't mean they can't win the series, but when you have Joel Embiid play in the first game and play with 100% ability to move and get off the ground and have a normal Joel Embiid night, and you still lose, it's a major concern, and here's why. I think Philadelphia is one of, if not the best perimeter defensive team in the NBA. They've got more personnel to throw at Trae Young than any other team when you talk about the guard position, and yet they could not contain him the entire game, particularly the way he got out of the gate. It's a massive problem for Doc Rivers, but here's what I think the solution is going to be, Greeny. I think they need to start Matisse Thybulle and let Matisse Thybulle have Trae Young the entire time he's on the floor. And if Trae Young gives the ball up, you've got to face guard and deny and take him out of the game and not let him get the basketball back to the extent that you can. Great players are still going to make plays and have an impact. But Trae Young got into a comfort zone at the start of this game. And when he does that, he puts so much pressure on your defense, similar to a Curry or a Damian Lillard, because of where you have to guard him. So I think the answer is change the matchup, you have to have more minutes with Thibault on him. If that means you start him and Danny Green comes off the bench, so be it. Because Danny Green had absolutely no answer for Trae Young, and that's going to be the key to the series. So I think Philadelphia will still and can still win the series, but there's no doubt the level of concern has been significantly raised.
All right, so the Nets and the Hawks have 1-game leads in the East. Out West, with the Lakers out and the Clippers advancing, round 2 begins tonight. In your mind, right now, who is the team to beat in the Western Conference?
I don't hedge, Greedy, but I'm telling you right now, it's a toss-up. I could sit here and make a great argument for any 4 of these teams. I don't think necessarily it's the Clippers. I think people are going to now go there because of the talent with Kawhi and Paul George, and they got by a Dallas team. Here's the thing. Dallas is a team that's got some serious limitations. They're not a very good defensive team. They don't have a lot of answers in terms of offense creation outside of Luka Doncic. So for the Clippers to take 7 games to get by a flawed Dallas Mavericks team, even with a superstar on it, I think people are going to start to get a little bit ahead of themselves when you start to take a look at the rest of the West. Are you going to forget what you watched all year out of the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns? I do not think it's clear cut. And if I had to go lay money on it today, I actually probably would split it between Utah and Phoenix. I think those 2 teams have been the best teams in the Western Conference for a reason. They're the 1 and 2 seeds. They don't really have holes, and I think they've gotten a lot more confidence with what they had to go through in the first round. And I think either of those teams right now, a little bit more complete than what you're going to get out of the Clippers. So even though Kawhi Leonard can win a game, win a series practically by himself, and if he goes into that autopilot mode the way he did at the end of this series or the way he did when he led Toronto to a championship, the Clippers will be in the finals, but I do not think by any means it's a foregone conclusion.
All right, we will see. Phoenix and Denver get it started tonight. Timmy Legg, stay close.
Line, Alan Hahn in for Zubin. How we doing, guys? Good weekend. It's going to be a hot day today in New York City.
It was hot yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
It's not comfortable.
Just skip right over spring.
It's always
That's what happens. Right over spring.
That's the
just
Northeast.
right into summer.
That's the Northeast.
It's cold, then there's no spring, then it's too hot to do anything. It's like,
Or it rains. It's cold, and then it
Then it
rains,
rains a
and you
lot.
think it's turning into nice weather. It stays cold, and then it just gets hot.
and
Boom.
then, so it was like.
Humidity just
But
hits
it was, what was interesting is yesterday, it's the first time I've been at the top of the Brooklyn Bridge other than riding my bike. So I walked yesterday. We walked over the Brooklyn Bridge. When I got at the highest point, it was cool, but it was almost like it was a breeze coming, but it was hot air. And you know what I'm saying? It was the craziest thing ever.
You gotta get used to that. You haven't experienced the whole train, the subway area.
No, you never want
the subway thickness of just in your mouth.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Nasty.
coming.
It's
It's
one of
coming.
those. See, that's why, when we're getting to the point now where if you're vaccinated, masks outdoors, you don't really need to wear them and stuff. That's
I
my
might keep
thing.
the
But I
mask
don't know if I
on.
go into a
Yeah,
subway,
Subway,
I
I'm
might,
keeping the mask on.
I'm all
So
set. I'm
gross
good.
though, walking, and the lady,
Uh-oh.
we had a lady.
Uh-oh.
I know. So we're walking, and so when we get to a part of the Brooklyn Bridge, there's some vendors out there selling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my son wanted to buy a little picture painting deal. I bought something. We were standing there. Not only us, it was other people standing there. So it was a lady came by with her son, was carrying her son. She, move out of the way. You guys get out of the way. Just, mad. New York mad. So everybody starts saying, New Yorker, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, tourist. She said, blanking tourist.
Yep.
It was the funniest thing ever. And I would have went in, but I had my kids and stuff, so I didn't want to go.
we're
I didn't want to go hard.
You gotta leave
But
it
she
alone.
wasn't just talking to me; she was talking to everybody. But it was hella funny the way she was like, "You guys are tourists," because we look like tourists. I kept telling everybody that was walking with me. I'm looking around. I'm like, You do understand we don't look like New Yorkers. I got on board shorts.
What does New York look like?
Oh, you look like a tourist. Like my wife's family, they don't look like they're from the East Coast at all. He had a hat on. He looked like he belonged somewhere other than
When
New
I think
York.
of that, I think of Coming to America, Prince Akeem wearing the Mets jacket with all the buttons and pins and everything like that. Like that's a tourist.
It's not like a shirt that says "I love New York" on it. Exactly.
No, but we just look like tourists.
Yeah.
I mean, like New Yorkers don't dress like they're not wearing board shorts, t-shirts, and flip-flops walking around like just normal. It's not.
Okay.
Hey.
Especially crossing the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yes,
where
exactly.
There's all kinds of stuff on the ground.
So we were in studio all weekend long, grinding out for the playoffs,
NBA countdown.
and I was wearing a turtleneck.
I saw that yesterday, and I was wondering
summertime.
what that choice was.
Okay, so let's
for.
talk about this.
Why are you wearing a turtleneck?
How damn cold is it in the studio all the time?
Yeah,
You
but
gotta-
it's how you project.
But no, it's not because I'm not outside.
No, but
I'm not
it's-
outside in 90-degree weather. I'm in an ice cold Key. Every
No.
time you come in the studio in the morning, what do? Hey, Paulie, turn down the ice pack. Why is it so warm in here?
Yeah,
That's
I
the first
get-
thing you do.
I get it. The way that I'm dressed, it doesn't feel like
You're wearing a
it's-
jacket and
I
it's
got on
90 degrees
jeans,
outside
I got
at
on
6
jeans,
a.m.
I get it. But we're indoors. But when you're wearing a turtleneck, it just screams winter, fall.
Yes.
It just screams that.
But I'm cold.
It's like the kid yesterday getting on the elevator. I got so many stories. I'm sitting on the elevator. Me and my wife Jen's there, and then there's his family, and there's his teenage kid. He had a hoodie on, sweats. He
But see,
was.
no,
I
but-
told him. I said, "Man, you know, you just made me hot looking at you."
But he's outside.
I know, I
That's
get
wrong.
it.
I'm inside.
That's what
no,
I was
no
gonna,
turtleneck, Jay.
We'll have a
Come on,
discussion about ambient temperature and whatnot because there's a great debate certainly about that. But that's what I wanted to get to though because I saw you in studio and you are wearing a turtleneck and you said you wore it because of Trae Young and Ice
Ice
Trae
cold,
and how
Ice
cold
Trae.
he was and
Yeah,
you thought
man.
you wanted to be prepared for it. But what also was cold was Kawhi Leonard's performance in what was a Game 7 and the Clippers end up winning. And I asked again, 126, 111. So the Mavericks are out in the first round. There's so much to talk about on that side of things, especially with Luka not being here. As I said, did the NBA lose one of its biggest stars, not having Luka now to play